Maggie? No? Okay. Where's the green one? Triangles.
They're so cute enough.
She's putting random shit in her mouth. Do you want a bar?
Oh, I want to wear.
It's hot, lovey. It's hot. Yeah, maybe. I've actually been real emotional over this for some reason, and I've just finished my period, so I don't even have an excuse. But I'm writing my first piece for it's my first print publication that I'm writing at the moment. I don't want to say for who, just in case I jinx it, because sometimes it's happened to me before where I've written something and then the editor reads it, doesn't like it, so it doesn't go anywhere. Now I have gotten paid publications, but they've all been online articles and columns a few times, but this will be my first one in print for a huge publication, so I'm really, really happy about it. I'm back into practice now. I thought it would take me a while to get back into it, but I've been really enjoying the writing process and being able to put it together. But I did have an interview with The Independent with Emer Walsh for the business section about sustainable fashion, and I was able to use, because I have a higher certificate in fashion buying and marketing, or is it fashion buying? No, fashion buying and visual merchandising. So I did learn a lot from that, and I've never been able to actually put it into practice because I never pursued a career in it, but I'm still able to, answer a few questions to the best of my abilities. That was really exciting because I've only ever done interviews in print publications about just myself and my job and probably being an influencer, but never anything specific. So I started posting, things to do with your toddler and spending more time outdoors with my daughter. And they're all just in good fun. And it's probably to encourage people to spend more time outdoors with their kids and giving people ideas. And I never thought much of it, but the editor of this publication follows me on Instagram and she has a toddler herself. So she wanted me to write a piece on things to do with your toddler during the summer. So I went camping. Obviously, I'm going to show clips in this. I went camping with Jason and our daughter. And now I get to write a piece on it. So I feel really, just the fact that has been able to materialize into actually, an income for me, but also another creative outlet where I can write about it and exercise my writing, because I love writing. I feel really excited now that I get to have a print piece about something, and as a columnist, not just an interview. So I'm really excited I've gotten really good career opportunities this summer, and it has just been basically because people support me and have enjoyed the stuff I've been posting. So I hope everyone enjoys it if it does get published. Now, she might hate it, she might read it and hate it. Now, the only time a piece that I wrote didn't get published, because I wrote a few things for Utopia, it's an online publication. So I wrote the one on modern feminism and the rejection of, girl bossisms and basically capitalism, patriarchy and stuff. I loved that piece that I wrote. I was pregnant when I wrote that, and I felt like my brain was at its best, at its peak, and then since that I haven't been able to, I can't think of things to write. And then I thought maybe I'll do video essays, but nothing ever came to me. And then I wrote another piece on being climate conscious while also being a parent. And then the one that didn't get published it was actually a bit different. So it was about, I got inspired by Women Have Better Sex Under Socialism. Is that what it's called? The book? Anyway, this journalist wrote a piece in the New York Times, or it was a New Yorker, I can't remember. I should probably figure that out. But it was about basically oral sex and how women get more oral sex if we were under a socialist structure or economic structure. I took inspiration from that, and I was trying to write about the effects of the economy structure on our sex life, and why if women got more head, basically we'd have a better society. It was a bit far-fetched, but the editor, who was a man, he was just no. I should find it though, and I should just publish it as a blog, because it was a good piece, and my editor who I sent it to, she loved it, but it was the guy who basically owned the publication. He was no, but maybe it's just because advertisers obviously would run a mile. But I've been having so much fun writing it. All the things that I've done so far in my life have led me to at least something good to come out of it, because I've made so many mistakes and fucked up so much and bounced around to different interests, and I've never really focused on one thing, but it's all like leading me in a right direction where I've learned so much from different avenues in my life that I've been able to put it all together into one. I'm starting another project at the moment. So obviously I'm doing self-care club and I'm having great fun with that, but I had this idea to have, well, I was talking to my sister about it because obviously she's gay and my sister's best friend is gay as well, and they were saying there's not enough things for gay women. I found it really difficult, especially when I was like dating, well, I'm not dating at the moment, but when I was trying to date a few months ago, and I wanted to meet more girls. I just found it quite difficult to do that because it's harder to, I think, to approach a woman and to know if they are interested in romantically, because girls in general are friendly and complimentary. You don't know if they want to be friends with you or if it's more, and that's what I find the most difficult in being bisexual, that you don't know whether another girl is bisexual or not. So we wanted to try create an event. Now it's me, my sister and her best friend, to try create an event to bring girls together where it's not just like a club. And there's obviously people out there, girls, bisexuals, lesbians, sapphic women out there that want to meet other women and don't know where to go. So we are creating a night for sapphic women to meet each other. So basically we're running a night in June. It's going to be in Pawn Shop. Saoirse's made the poster for it. Mia, who's Saoirse's best friend, is like doing the creative direction. She's basically doing all the ideas, and then I'm just doing the business correspondence sort of, so booking the venues, making the event page, posting about it and talking about it. We're running these gay nights for women and friends of, you know, everyone's welcome basically, but I just wanted to have an environment where like women could meet each other, and that's going to be in June in Pawn Shop. And for the first night we'll do open mic poetry, and then we're going to do bands, so we're going to do queer led or women bands, and then maybe have women DJs after, but it's not going to be solely techno, you know, it's going to be different types of music. I'm not sure what yet. And I have learned so much with organising podcast shows and a self-care club about making events, and I really enjoy doing that as well. I did a year in studying commercial modern music, and even though I thought at the time, oh, this is useless, I'm not going to use this ever again, I did actually learn over those years of my life where I thought I was wasting my time and everything was useless and blah blah blah, and I wouldn't lead to a career, blah whatever, or just changing my mind all the time and being interested in something else and actually wanted to go down a different path. I did learn a lot actually in that year in commercial modern music about music business and music in general, and I have been using that in making events as well. Oh yeah, I'm going to Galway next weekend, and then the weekend after that I'm cat sitting. I don't know if people remember, but remember my cat Missy Moo, who I fucking adored. I still adore her, obviously. She's an outdoor cat now, and apparently she's a slag, and she's like going around, and she's spaded, and she's like apparently riding all the cats in the neighborhood. I'm obsessed. I'm cat sitting so basically my friend's family adopted her, and I'm cat sitting for them now because they're going away, and they have Missy Moo and I think 2 other cats. So me and B are moving into their house for the weekend, which is so nice because I get to spend time. Now I don't think she's gonna remember. I don't know if cats remember, but she'll probably be, you know, she's not really an approachable cat anyway. It takes her a while to warm up. She'll probably only like me on the last day that I'm there. But it's going to be so nice to see her. So, because I still have access to her, you know, and I know where she is. I get updates from her, which I feel like is not common when you do have to give up a pet. But she has such a better life now, because I wouldn't be able to give her that with living in an apartment and having a toddler. I wasn't able to give her as much attention as she deserved. But now she's living like her best life. But I better get back to writing now. Check in there. I thought I'd do a little life update QA because I never talk about myself. Wait, I actually never talk about myself. I actually need to talk about myself a bit more. I'm going to be quiet because Jason's working from home next door and I don't want him to hear me because that's embarrassing. But anyway, and I might be talking about him. Who knows? Loads of questions about if I'm going to emigrate or move country. Obviously, I've been in panic mode for the past few weeks. I've kind of calmed down now, to be honest, and laid down my roots, started making a home, bought a Hoover. We actually just got a new Hoover because the one I bought previously broke, and then Jason had to call up the customer service because I'm not good at that, with that sort of thing, just being like, because I'll literally, if I have a problem with customer service, I'll call them up and be like, it's actually broken or it's fucked up, and they'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, here's a £5, and I'll be like, that's actually such a good deal, thank you so much. And then I'll hang up and go, wait, that's not a good, nothing has been resolved, do you know? Whereas Jason's like, no, you need to fix it, or we need a new Hoover, do you know? Anyway, so I've laid down my roots. I was panicking a bit there, being like, oh, I don't belong anywhere. And see, my thing is, it's like, I'd be paranoid that I'd be adding to a problem if I moved somewhere else. Like, I'd be one of those people who arrives and they're like, wait, you're gentrifying the area, and I'm going, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to do that, I just want to live. Do you know that kind of way? Where I am now, I really love it because I'm so close to loads of hikes and it's so like in nature and still quiet while also being close to Dublin, so it's like the perfect combination. And I'm also near Jason's family, so it's like I still have a connection to people. Anyway, with the emigrating, I was like, obviously me and Jason have this whole thing of moving to France. We're obsessed. Well, I have this pull. I don't know if it's my favorite country, to be honest. Actually, Italy is my favorite country, but I've always had this pull. It's like, you know, when your heart is telling you something. It's always been telling me, like, I used to have dreams in French and I'm not even good at French. That was my worst subject in school. Like, I'm pretty sure I got a D2. Every time I go to France, I'm like, I just have this feeling that I should live here. And I know people get that when they go on holiday because you have this sort of idealistic idea of what it's going to be like. You think it's going to be like a holiday all the time. Whereas I know I do get those notions every time I go on a holiday. Like when I went to Portugal, I was like, wait, maybe we could live in Portugal. And then if I go to Italy, I'm like, wait, maybe I could actually live in Italy. With France, I'm like, I get it. Even when I'm still at home, even months later after being from home, I'm like, I think I should be living there. There's something that's like pulling me there. But anyway, for the moment, not now, because I know all I have to think about is schools. So yeah, I have to think about schools for B. So because I'm so scattybrain and erratic, it's actually really good for me to be living with Jason because he really, really grounds me, because I'm like, I have to move. I have to run away. And he's just like, calm down. We'll figure this out together, which is like fantastic to have as a person to like balance me out, especially as a parent as well, because it's so much pressure to make the decisions for someone. Someone else's life is in the palm of my hands, sort of thing, and every little thing I do will affect her in some way, so I have to make sure that I'm always making the right decisions. So anyway, I booked in a meeting with my accountant. I was like, he's like a financial advisor as well and sort of like a big bro. Do you know? So it was only supposed to be 20 minutes. I was literally there for an hour and a half. So I was just like, listen, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So he's helping me in the financial planning and like all of that stuff. So he was like, it's going to be okay. Like you need to calm down. And I was like, okay. He was like, we're going to get you your house. Don't worry. So I'm not sure where, because I was looking at houses in Wicklow, Kildare and Louth, and they're all like perpetually getting worse and worse in terms of price point. Like there's a estate agents that I walk by very often in Kildare, all the houses on the front. I remember the first time I walked by it, this was like last year, I walked by it and the houses were like reasonable enough. Like there was apartments there for, 175 grand, and then houses up to 4-bed gaffs for like 340 grand, which is like all pretty standard. Whereas now they're just getting more and more expensive. I thought for some reason, because I see houses being built all the time around me, estates flying up everywhere and towers of apartments flying up everywhere. I just thought, my understanding was the prices are just going to stay the same, but they're actually getting more and more expensive. And then I was talking to Leah Whelan yesterday, who's in the Socialist Party, and she said because there's no regulations on who can buy these houses, and the price of the building, the actual construction of the houses is still really expensive because it's not getting subsidised for the government or whatever, and there's no regulation. So there's a whole estate that's close enough proximity to me, about a 20-minute drive or something. 80% of the estate was bought by vulture funds and then rented out to people, like still whatever, like $4,000 a month for a 3-bed house, which is crazy. And then a studio apartment, $1,700 a month. I'm kind of just staying put for the moment. And also my job at the moment is very big. I know like last year I could have moved anywhere in the world because I was fully remote, whereas now I actually do have things that I need to be in Ireland for. And Jason's career is going really well as well, so he needs to be based here and he's like thriving, so it would be a bad time for him to leave. For the moment we have this place anyway for a while. I've been recording the next season of my podcast, which is all going to be interviews, because I was kind of bored and lonely doing it on my own there for a while, and I kind of ran out of things to say, to be honest. And I was like, wait, am I actually just an idiot and I have no idea what I'm talking about? So I was like, I'll get people on, and I'm close to loads of really cool, interesting people, because now I'm in like a different part of Ireland. So I was like, there's so many people I want to talk to. So I've recorded loads there. I have one with Nevo, Leah Whelan and Courtesy, and then I'm going to London next week and I have 3 interviews over there as well. So I'm just editing them all now, and they're really fun, interesting. Are you still planning on going to Australia? So I'm dying to go see Aisling, obviously my BFF. I was kind of, because me and Jason are going, like, we're obviously not going to go on holiday because we're saving at the moment. Like, I just can't justify it. Obviously I'd have free accommodation if I went to Australia because I'd be there with my friend. So, but my mum keeps being like, you need to do it. You know, Bee's old enough now where you can leave her, you know, for a week, and you need to go see your friends. But I would still feel guilty, but I would love to go maybe in February or March. See, the only way I could justify it, and the last time I was going to go, was because I was doing a podcast tour, and that's because then I was like, well, if it's for work, then it makes sense, and I would never allow myself to just go over for a holiday, because then I would feel guilty for it. What is your biggest fear and your biggest hope right now? Housing, obviously, just being able to find somewhere permanent to live. I just hate the unknown of being like, will I or won't I? It's like the sexual tension between me and a house. It's like, are you gonna? Come on. Are you gonna let me buy you? Yeah? Or are you playing hard to get? Sort of that buzz. What's your favourite memory from Bee from the last month? Definitely going camping. She just takes to things so well. I went to Galway as well last weekend, and I thought for some reason she would be like, you know, well, when they're a young baby, they're a bit like, this is an unfamiliar environment, and then they don't sleep for the whole night. Well, she was a bit like that. I don't know if all babies are like that. Sorry, I'm just going to take my cardigan off. Yeah, she was a bit like, oh, I'm not going to sleep now because I have no idea where we are. Whereas when we were in the hotel, she literally was like climbing up on the chair. She was so entertained by just being in a different room. She was getting up and down from the bed, going in the blankie, out the blankie, turning on the telly, jumping on the chairs, looking at the cupboards, you know. She was on a fucking buzz, running up and down the hallways. We went swimming in the pool. Oh my God. There was a place. Now, the hotel we went to was in Connemara Coast in Galway, and there's a playground on the site. And there's a tennis court, and there's a beach. Oh my God, she just had the best fun ever. And then when we went camping as well, she was like going in and out of the tent, running around in the grass. Camping with young kids is actually fucking brilliant. And I thought, I don't know, I was just a bit apprehensive about it. I thought it'd be stressful, or like we'd forget something, but she's just like loves it. Like, loved being outside, loved seeing other kids, loved the novelty of sleeping in a tent. And she actually slept so well in the tent as well. She slept better in the tent than she did in the hotel. Plans for future babies. Now, obviously, no, there's no plans for future babies, but I always imagine myself, like my future self, with 3 kids. Like, that would be my ideal. And every time I see a newborn baby, I do get a pang of sadness, just being like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get that again. And I'd love to have siblings, and I just imagine myself with 3 kiddies, 3 beautiful kiddies, and I just love it. Like, being a mom is my favorite thing in the world, so that's how I just imagine my future life. But I imagine a lot of things, you know. Do you have any plans to visit the UK more, or London? Now, because my podcast managers are in London, so that's why, and they have the big studios over there, so that I can just use whenever I want. So that's kind of why I like going over there. And there's, you know, a bigger pool of people to talk to. So I probably would be going over a bit more often. And then if like an opportunity arose over there, then we would move. You know, but at the moment, all my opportunities are here, so it would depend on what happens in the future. I just wouldn't want Bea to get an English. I just want her to have an Irish accent. I'm sorry if that's offensive. How are you doing in yourself? I'm actually doing really good at the moment. I'm surprisingly doing well. I love this. Will you and Jason ever get back together? That is fucking gas. I actually respect the come on, tell us. How am I don't have a fucking clue. Wondered how you're finding it living with Bea's dad again. Maybe a tricky thing being happy to co-parent. See, we're a really unique situation because we get along so well and we love each other, whereas it just made me realise when this happened to me, where I moved in, I was like, there's so many women that would be in my position but actually being pushed into an unsafe living environment. Like that show, if you've ever watched it, Made on Netflix, you can see how people are forced into these situations and it's unsafe for themselves and their children. So it just made me fucking angry at the at other people, but not for myself. But I was angry on behalf of other people that might be in my position that wouldn't be safe. Whereas I'm like safe and probably in a better position than I was before because we do things, we're a great team, do you know? Do you ever mourn past versions of yourself? This is actually such an interesting question because I was thinking about this when I was in Galway, because I used to live in Galway just before lockdown happened, and I think people always compare themselves to like pre-lockdown you and post-lockdown you because your perspective on the world kind of changes. So before, when I was in Galway, it was kind of as if, but it also could have been because I was in my early 20s, it just felt like the world is actually your oyster where you could do anything and you know, you could make a life for yourself, and you felt hopeful. And also there was a lot more things going on. I mean, the club was open, there was a record shop there, I had my vintage shop, and it just felt like, oh my God, I could do anything if I set my mind to it. And then after lockdown, it was kind of everything was ripped away from you. You actually don't have control over your life at all because anything unprecedented could happen. And then after that, my mentality kind of changed where I was like, it was a bit panicky. Does that make sense? And even still, I do get pangs of that, being like, I actually don't have, it's the people at the top and the people who are controlling the world have control over how things go and are dictating our lives. And that's kind of depressing, isn't it? Whereas before I didn't feel like that. I felt like, oh, you know, if we're not happy with something, we could protest and something will come from it. Whereas now I'm kind of like, Jesus, they could literally ban protests tomorrow and start locking us all up. That's the kind of, and it wasn't the person that, I don't mourn the person that I was then because I was stupid and, you know, naive and all. And I still am a bit stupid now, but back then my hopeful mindset and more like, yeah, I do miss the hopefulness and just the positivity, I suppose. And then, but I'm kind of getting it back now. To be honest, it is kind of coming back now, the motivation and belief. It's like the belief in yourself, I suppose. I don't know. Did your baby have a hard time transitioning during the move? No, she actually is 10 times happier. Even Saoirse came to mind her here the other night, and Saoirse was like, it's literally like she's a completely different child because she's so comfortable, so happy, and just like you can just know she wakes up in the morning fucking delighted with herself. It's not that she was unhappy when I was living with my dad, but you could tell she was just slightly different. And it could be to do that she's older, but it also probably largely due to the fact that both of her parents are together and we're getting along and having fun together and doing stuff as a family, and she never is being taken away to sleep somewhere else away from one of her parents, which obviously would have been hard for her. But I'm so glad that I can give her this now where we're all together, and it is really nice to have that. In terms of holidays planned, because we got all our camping gear now, we're going camping, so we're going to go camping in Clifton. I would love to go camping in Kerry, but it's obviously because it's such a long drive, you'd want to make it worth it. So I'm kind of thinking, will we do 2 nights camping and then 1 night in a hotel as a treat? Because our dream is like, we would love to own an RV and drive around Ireland and stay in the RV, but you can't own an RV until you have 4 years of your license. And obviously the two of us, we've only had our license for, I think I've had mine nearly a year now, and Jason's a bit less, a few months. So we do have to wait a long time, which is so annoying. But I'm so the type to impulsively just buy one and be like, it's sitting in the driveway waiting to be used. That's how I'm going to answer. Sorry.